Okay, it's gone.
All right, so we're shooting a little video on how to take a bike wheel off. And one of the things you need to be concerned about is this brake is right now squeezing it, so even if the wheel were loose, it wouldn't come out. So the first thing we need to do is loosen the brakes. And we can do that by squeezing this and then pulling this out like that, and then they come apart like that. You see how you can you put them back in.
Yep.
You have to pull that thing back, and you have to weasel around a little bit here, but then you can sink it back in.
Loads of times.
Okay.
Falling out.
Okay, great. So now this thing is designed to hold the wheel tightly in place. So it takes a bit of muscle to pull this down. But once it's down, it's loose. But the way this particular bike is constructed, it doesn't come right off. You actually have to unscrew this thing. This little thing connects with this nut on the other side. It's called a skewer. And you need to unscrew this a bunch of times until it's loose enough. And if you were clever, you could count how many times it unscrewed and remember that and unscrew it in the same amount of times. And then the whole thing will just come right off like that. And you can pack it up. And I'm going to put this one back in right now. And it'll center where it's supposed to be. And again, I'm going to have to hold this side while I screw this in. Almost all the screws anywhere are righty-tighty, so I'm tightening it right now by going in a right-hand clockwise fashion. And I'm going to have to play a little bit to get it the right tension, right? So that's actually a little bit looser than it was, but probably pretty good on that. So this is now, it's seating in the right place. Yeah, why don't you try squeezing that and putting that in? That's good. That's great. Yeah, and then you put that rubber thing back on. Excellent. Now I want to just show you something else while we're doing this. So this is obviously your front brake here. You can adjust, like if this becomes loose, you can adjust by unscrewing this, but then you want to screw this one down in here because that will then lock it in the place that it is. I happen to have already adjusted your brakes having this all the way in, so I'm going to put it back where it was because I don't think you want it tighter than that. But if, for instance, you're not getting complete braking, you then want to just unscrew that a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, now the back is complicated because, and I'm going to flip this around for a second.
Those gears.
Because of the gears, and you end up getting your hands dirty, although I did really clean up everything here, so you're not going to get them as dirty as you normally would. But it's the same situation as the front. It's got a skewer on one side here.
Do you get to take the rack off or no?
No,
Okay.
you don't need to take the rack off at all. You do need to do the same thing here in terms of, loosening which you evidently know how to do.
Yeah.
The complication is not so much taking it apart, it's more getting it back together. But the bike is much smaller, so I'm going to have to unscrew this again, this skewer. And here's the trick. This is called your derailleur here, your rear derailleur. You're going to want to hold this thing and spin it back like this. It's all on springs. And then the whole thing will come out. But the confusion is once it's out, so this would be like if you had both your front and your rear wheel off, this would probably be the most compact way to put it in the car. It would take the least space like that.
Yep.
But the trick is putting it back on because you're going to say, well, how the heck does that fit in there? And the answer to that is you're going to want to, again, push this thing down like that, and imagine that.
You're kind of blocking the video here now.
Okay, I'll turn around a little bit so I'm not blocking it. Okay, and now you're gonna, this obviously needs to be on that side, and you're gonna wanna stick this in, watch what I'm doing with the thing. So you see how I'm laying it down so it goes in front and on top. Does that make any sense?
Yep.
Why don't we take this off and let you do that? Okay. So pull that out just so you've got.
What do you mean?
I mean, let's get it off so it really is off, so we're starting from scratch.
Yeah. Well.
You have to bring it up so that the chain's not on it, and then pull the chain off. You see how that happened?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm me go ahead and I'll tell you what, I'll make it a little easier. I'll hold this up for you and you can try putting that wheel on. Right, so you're gonna want to pull this back more like this. Okay, yeah. Now you've got to get it between.
Yeah, I
chains.
understand that.
Okay. Yeah. And you have to line it up so it's going in here. There are a lot of things that need to come together. It doesn't make that much difference which of those gears it's on. It's going to adjust when you pedal. Okay, now.
Now I need to screw this back.
Right, but you're going to need to hold the other side. I'm just going to hold it and spin it this way so the camera gets a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah. Right. So you're going to need to. Right. Now, I don't think you want to have it that much. You want it looser than that because you want it so that when I pull this in, it gets tight and not too tight. So it's still a little bit. You need a little looser. Yep, okay. Now try. It's still too tight. Now the other thing is you want your skewer lined up with your bottom here so that it's not, yeah, that's not bad, but it's still too tight. So pull this. Now don't spin this one, spin this one. You can unscrew this side a little bit. Okay, that's good. Try it now. I think you're close. I would also point it up a little bit. Yeah, you could just unscrew it a little bit. Okay, stop. Okay, now try pushing that in. That's good. Push it in a little bit more because you want it to be tight in there. That's good. That's very tight. Okay, now you can go ahead and put your rear brake on.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is going to be totally in the wrong gear, so it probably is good to pick it up and roll it, and then it'll sort of go back into the gear that it's adjusted to up here. And that's it.
Alright. My hands are dirty now.
My hands are dirty too. That's the nature of this. All right. I think we're. Oh, so this thing. This thing squeezes. Let's see. I mean, it should be pretty self-explanatory, but there. That's how it comes off.
Okay.
Why don't you try that?
Okay.
I think this also wants to be a little tighter for you. So the bottom part, this part does not need to come off. It just here. Try this out. Try pushing that and getting it off. You got it. Okay, great. Make sure it's snapped all the way in. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Kid.